I was writing the script for this show last night with a tab on Twitter open because I bookmark things to put on the show, and then saw a notice that I thought was a joke. Somebody said Trump was shot, and then immediately on my screen popped up video of him being shot on live television. And I'm sure that other people who in past times have seen things like this have felt probably exactly the same way millions of us have felt, but there's no other way to say it but cliche. It was complete shock and not a surprise. And I called my sister, and she was in tears on the phone. And then my phone started blowing up, like all of yours, I'm sure. We're going to talk about this. It's hard to know what to say. So let's take a look back at last week and some of the things we talked about, which now look like foreshadowing. We shared with you one Matt Croyle on Twitter who said, if you have friends and family members who support Trump, if it comes down to it, you may literally have to kill them before they kill you. This is where it's headed. This is a 50 alarm fucking fire. We also showed you David Aronovich from the BBC, a BBC presenter who wrote, if I was Biden, I'd hurry up and have Trump murdered on the basis that he is a threat to America's security. And we're going to keep taking you back through our video from last week. This is actress Leah Delaria.
Done. I'm done. I'm fucking seriously done. The Supreme Court has pissed me off so much right now. Like, so much. Joe, you're a reasonable man. You don't want to do this, but here's the reality. This is a fucking war. This is a war now, and we are fighting for our fucking country. And these assholes are going to take it away. They're going to take it away. Fuck you, Clarence Uncle Thomas. Fuck you. Joe, you now have the right to take that bitch Trump out. Take him out, Joe. If he was Hitler and this was 1940, you'd take him out. Well, he is Hitler and this is 1940. Take him the fuck out. Blow him up. Blow him up, or they'll blow us up. Facts.
I hope Leah feels better this week. And of course, we also had from last week, California Democratic Representative Zoe Lofgren.
You know, theoretically, President Biden, acting within the scope of his official duties, could dispatch the military to take out the conservative justices on the court, and he'd be immune.
Let's go back a little bit further. Last year or a couple of years ago, this is Rick Wilson on television on MSNBC with Project... What is it? I can't even remember. I'm so mixed up this week. It was an anti-Trump project. Let's listen to it.
Just sit back on the sidelines and say, oh, well, don't worry, this will all work itself out. They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
All this talk, all this projection, I hope they're all feeling very, very satisfied today. This is 2 days ago, before the assassination attempt on Trump. This is Joy Reid of MSNBC.
Let's not be trying to play games with these kinds of small things to try to pull us into a direction. All that matters in this election, and I genuinely mean this, all that matters in this election, the only thing that matters in this election, is keeping Donald Trump and Project 2025 out of power. Keeping that insane ideology of white Christian nationalism and white supremacy and white male Christian dominance out of power. That's all that matters. I genuinely don't care who the Democratic nominee is. And I'm being real. I don't care. If it's Biden, fine. If it's Kamala Harris, fabulous, right? But it's going to be one of the two of them. Let's just not play crazy games now. There are rules the way that this process works. It's one of the two of them. Either one, I don't care. Or if you want to parachute somebody else in and they not him, they not the orange one, they not the one who quotes Hitler, fine, put him in, I don't care. Because all that matters, I'm going to say this to y'all again, all that matters in this upcoming election is that you keep that man and that Project 2025 plan out of power. That's all you need to understand. And to do that, you are going to need to vote against the party that has embraced white Christian nationalism. The Republican Party is gone. It has been replaced by Project 2025 and MAGA and Trump. That's all that's left. That party is gone. And that means you have to vote against that letter, R, all the way down the ballot. You have to keep them out of power at the state level, keep them out of power at the federal level, or remove them from power at the state and federal level. That means anything with the R on it is toxic. Anything with the R on it is going to take your birth control. Anything with the R on it is going to make you register and take the military preparatory test in high school so that you're ready to be cannon fodder for them, to be deployed on the streets of the United States to shoot Americans who are protesting. They're going to take away your education. They're going to take away your opportunity to go to college. They're going to take away your books, your history. They're going to take away your right to even know the history of this country. They're going to replace it with so-called patriotic education. They're going to get rid of the Department of Education, meaning no more Pell Grants, no more money for school, no more student loans, no more equality for girls' sports. All of it gone, replaced with this white Christian nationalist insanity. And they want to do that not just federal, but state. The Republican Party at the state level is just as bad or worse. Baby, ladies, gentlemen, friends, nothing else matters. Okay? Nothing else matters but stopping Trump, the Republican Party, and Project 2025 in November. You have 119 days to get right with that and get comfortable with that. That's all that matters. Okay? And the only way to stop them is with our votes.
All of this, it's sick, it's cluster B, it's narcissistic, it's psychopathic. And I'm almost out of words to describe how bad it's gotten. Let's take a look at how bad it's gotten. This is the moment.
They see something that said, take a look at what happened.
I'm not going to say anything tonight about the shooter. It has been a tech travesty in our world, as you can see from the scruff. We're putting it together as we can. I have not had a chance to catch up, and we're in the fog of war right now. I can't parse what's true and what's not, no matter where I look online. So I'm not going to say anything about who the shooter may have been until next week, if we know by then, because it looks like, now, you can imagine the sorts of things I'm thinking about. But this was also the moment that came after. Say whatever you want about Donald Trump, but that man is brave. That is bravery. That is inspiring. It should never have had to happen. Then I saw this shot of him kneeling on the ground, blood running down his face. This is America, 2024. And Senator J.D. Vance says it best. He says, "Today is not just some isolated incident. The central premise of the Biden campaign is that President Donald Trump is an authoritarian fascist who must be stopped at all costs." That rhetoric led directly to President Trump's attempted assassination. Yes, it did. This is the stochastic terrorism that they've been going on about for years, pointing at us, people on the right, or people who are not fully engulfed by the left. They've put words in our mouths. They've called us psychopaths. They've called us murderers or would-be murderers. They've called us child abusers as we try to stop them from doing those very things. This has been going on a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. When I started this show with Kevin 3.5 years ago, I'm not a very hopeful person, but there was a part of me that thought things might have gotten better in 3.5 years, and they haven't. They've gotten much worse. We are on the brink. So let's take a look at some of the reaction to an assassination attempt. Here's a medley. Conrad says, "Sad they missed. Fuck Trump, better off dead." Maddie says, "No context. I'm just sad they missed. If you know, you know, and don't say it if you do. Laugh my ass off." Squid Skip says, "Sad they missed. Glad they tried." Katie says, "My best friend who lives in Milwaukee just texted me and told me what happened, and my response was, sad they missed." Sci-Fi Chick, "Damn it, they missed. I'm not calling for someone to take him out. I'm just saying I'm sad they missed." Fuck you. Danica said, "We were 2 inches away from democracy, but he missed." Yeah, it's real funny. Do you know if Trump had not turned his head an inch at the very moment that bullet was going by, it would have gone right through his brain. The media. I am sitting on so much profanity. I know I've already let one out, but believe me, I could let out a string. The media won't even say what happened. Maybe they are today. I haven't had time to catch up. And no, I don't believe that they're just being cautious. Fog of war. No, they're doing it because it's him. They don't want to have to say what actually happened. Here's a headline from USA Today. Trump removed from stage by Secret Service after loud noises startles former president and crowd. Loud noises startled the former president. They will say this when they saw him with their own eyes on live television, getting shot in the ear and grabbing his head and falling to the ground. They saw it. You saw it. I saw it. These people hate you and want you dead. The media and the Democrats. It should be clear by now. MSNBC says, Trump rushed off stage at Pennsylvania rally by Secret Service after loud popping noises heard. Loud popping noises. And we have some reaction from, more Twitter reaction. You got to pull it out. It looks very staged. Sounded like a BB gun. Nobody in the crowd is running or panicking. Nobody in that crowd heard an actual gun. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. And you know what? Jane, or any of the other millions of people doing this, they're probably saying the same thing today. They're gone. These people that we're talking about, they cannot be rehabilitated. People can change their minds. People can grow. They can mature. They can realize that they were wrong. Millions of people have done it. I've talked to many of them. But there are some people who are too far gone. They are only dangerous. You can't have a relationship with them. You can't talk reason to them. They want you dead. Please understand how serious this is. And I'm talking about your family, too. I'm talking about your friends. I'm talking about your colleagues at work. Many of them are too far gone. Do not turn your back on them. Do not share any secrets with them. Do not let them in your life. Do not trust them. They would have you dead. Just like Trump. Steve Scott says, that is not, I repeat, not a gunshot wound. He faked it with a blood pill and nothing more. If that is a gunshot wound, they used a BB gun, you fucking clowns. Trump just knows how stupid his cult is. Just as stupid as Biden's cult. Uh-huh, yeah. I hate both sides, except I hate Trump more. Verse from Scripture came into my mind as I was writing this, looking at this depraved reaction. And he said unto them, he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. Some people don't have ears to hear or eyes to see. Drop them and put up a perimeter. Put them on the other side. Mike Elhart says, Trump gets hit with a BB gun or pellet shot. No one in the crowd even moves. The sound is very weak. Staged or not, this was not an assassination attempt. Just gives more MAGA propaganda, and they're the gun party. Yeah. I don't have this for you on the screen, but first headline I saw from the Washington Post, Trump leaves rally after loud noises erupt. Let's wind the clock back a little bit farther for an NBC News headline about Tucker Carlson. Quote, Tucker Carlson stokes conspiracies, claims U.S. is speeding towards assassination of Trump. The comments presented without evidence have been picked up by other media personalities on the far right, including conspiracy theorist Alex Jones and former Fox News host Dan Bongino. None of these people will eat their words. None of them will apologize. None of them will say they were wrong. And not enough of us will make them do it. Sadly, we won't get that satisfaction. I don't think we have the guts. I hope I'm wrong. But I don't think I am. I started out hating Donald Trump in 2016 when I was a liberal and a wokey. Then I became indifferent and I said, I'm not going to vote for anybody. The choices are both too bad. Then I became a reluctant would-be Trump voter. And then I became an enthusiastic Trump voter, and last night cemented my decision. This picture of Trump holding up his fist. Don't tell me it's staged. There was no time to stage anything, but this is the picture of the century. This is for the history books. That is one goddamn brave man. That is one inspirational man. I'm not going to talk about what his faults are. We've had nothing but his faults. This is courage in the face of mortal danger. He doesn't have to do this. And he's doing it anyway. God bless and protect Donald Trump in America and all of us. We need it. All right. Time to go back to the normal things. We are coming to you this week with the help of Anton's Meat and Eat, landofbiltong.com. Anton Van Buren and his family make delicious cured meat called biltong. It's a South African way of vinegar curing and spice curing meat, and it is wonderful. It's almost zero carb. It is delicious. It's good for you. I eat this stuff constantly. Best cure for hunger I've come across so far. I'd love for you to try it too. Support the guy who supports our show, would you? Go to landofbiltong.com. We've got 2 promo codes for you. One is Josh. Use Josh and get 10% off your order. Or use Josh10, Josh10. No, I mixed them up. Let me start again. Josh will get you free shipping. Promo code Josh10 would get you 10% off your order. And, of course, I am open for business if you need somebody relatively sane to talk to. Go to joshuaslocum.net. I offer 1-hour consulting and coaching sessions for people who are facing narcissistic problems at home or at work, or simply just dealing with living in the world as insane as it is. I have a lot of people who come to me who say, I just want to be able to talk about what's on my mind with somebody who's not going to call me a crazy MAGA Christo-fascist, and you won't get that with me. So go to joshuaslocum.net, and show supporters and past clients get a discount. We'll see you after the break.
Disaffected is now streaming on X. Come with us each Sunday and dare to notice reality. You can find us on X at DisaffectedPod.
You get something from Disaffected you don't find anywhere else? Well, you can help produce the show. Supporting members get access to our private Discord chat server, meetups, and audio episode recording sessions with guests. Sign up at disaffectedpod.substack.com or at subscribestar.com/disaffected. Let's talk about women in crime. In the news this week is the case of British nurse Lucy Letby. She was convicted last year of killing 7 babies. She was a nurse. The allegation is that she killed them either with insulin injections, giving them fatal hypoglycemia, or that she injected air into the baby's veins. Now, there have been many so-called angel of death nurses. This is a known subtype of the serial killer. And there have been many of them who've been women. Yet people don't want to believe that Lucy Letby could have done this because she's a woman. Here's an example from Twitter. Somebody named Nick Van Helsing says there is 0 precedent for a female serial killer. 0. Rose West was an accomplice and Eileen Wuornos exclusively murdered Johns. This just doesn't happen. Eileen Wuornos was a prostitute and a serial killer. Yes, she murdered her customers, her Johns. How is that 0 evidence for a female serial killer? Because this is feminist logic, even though it's Nick saying it. They had it coming. They were paying her to rape her. She wasn't selling her body. They just made her do it. So it was fine for her to kill all those men. You see, women are wonderful. Rose West, Rose and Fred West of the UK, tortured and murdered 9 girls and young women together. But Rose was just an accomplice. A man made her do it. There's 0 precedent. It doesn't happen. And you want to sass back at me about what I say about women? You want to tell me I'm a misogynist? We simply will not believe in female evil, even when we can see it with our own eyes. Show viewer, friend of the show named Audra, had a wonderful thread on this. I'm going to read it to you. Quote, I'm tired of pretending that there isn't a serious sexism problem in the criminal justice system. The obsession with people like Lucy Letby is just a symptom of a much larger problem that I experienced working 5 years for the prosecution. The reality is, from sex crimes to murder, women, some of the most vicious women I have ever seen in my life, are constantly and consistently given lighter sentences, given plea deals, for things that, if she were a man, the sentence and conviction would have been much harsher. I've avoided talking about it because I didn't want to upset women who have been abused by the justice system, but I can't avoid talking about it anymore. From sex crimes pled down to child endangerment charges to involuntary manslaughter for starving her child and beating him to death, I've seen it all. There are always true crime groupies, useful idiots who think that somehow a child can have all their bones broken without the other adult in the house ever lifting a finger. Or that, like in the Lucy Letby case, the hospital staff, after complaining that they were short-staffed, moved a perfectly capable nurse out of their unit and into an office building just because. And once it became clear that she would be moved back to the neonatal unit, they decided to go to the police. That the experts who reviewed the autopsy and case notes were making it all up. It's a conspiracy theory to keep a good woman down. To make it even worse, she's pretty. So of course she's a target for the conspiracies. Nobody wants to think that someone who looks like this is capable of this level of horror. She challenges the criminal type narrative. But it's even deeper than that. Quote, "The truth is, nobody wants to believe the weaker sex is capable of great, incredible violence, especially against those who are weaker than them. She must have had a good reason. She must have been crazy. It couldn't possibly be psychopathy. But women can, in fact, be psychopaths. And although most violent crimes are committed by men, ignoring the percentage committed by women against children will only serve to further endanger them." Yes, that's right. Thank you, Audra. Do you know who kills the most children? Women. Mothers. Look up the statistics. You don't believe me? Mothers kill more children than fathers. You bet your ass I'm angry about this. People also don't want to believe that women can be guilty of or complicit in sex crimes. They don't want to believe that mothers frequently know that their men are molesting their daughters and turning a blind eye to it, or being complicit. It happened in my family. But of course that means I'm lying. Alice Munro is one of the most famous short story writers in Canada, and she's world famous too. This past week, her daughter disclosed that Alice Munro's husband, the daughter's stepfather, sexually assaulted her. When she told her mother years later, Alice Munro stayed with her husband and accused her daughter of trying to take things away from Alice. From the Washington Post, additional dismay reverberated through the literary world on Tuesday as it came to light that a biographer and others had known for years that Nobel Prize-winning Canadian writer Alice Munro, who died in May at 92, had long kept secret that her second husband sexually abused one of her daughters. In an essay published last weekend in the Toronto Star, Andrea Robin Skinner, a daughter of Munro's, wrote that her stepfather, Gerald Fremlin, sexually assaulted her starting in 1976 when she was 9 years old. And after Munro learned of the abuse from her daughter 16 years later, she reacted without sympathy to Skinner, her daughter, and chose to stay with Fremlin, her husband. They remained married until he died in 2013. Here's what her daughter, Andrea, recounted about her mother's reaction. Quote, "In spite of the letters and threats, my mother went back to Fremlin," that's the husband, "and stayed with him until he died in 2013. She said that she had been told too late she loved him too much, and that our misogynistic culture was to blame if I expected her to deny her own needs, sacrifice for her children, and make up for the failings of men. She was adamant that whatever happened between me and my stepfather had nothing to do with her." This is why children go no contact with their parents. This is why I don't need to explain anymore. This is constant. If I'm lucky enough to live another 20 or 30 years, I will be on my deathbed and I will be reading the same thing. This will never change. It's a very bitter pill to swallow. Time for a break. We'll see you on the other side.
Disaffected is now streaming on X. Come with us each Sunday and dare to notice reality. You can find us on X at DisaffectedPod.
You get something from Disaffected you don't find anywhere else? Well, you can help produce the show. Supporting members get access to our private Discord chat server, meetups, and audio episode recording sessions with guests. Sign up at disaffectedpod.substack.com or at subscribestar.com/disaffected. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. We are at DisaffectedPod. And although it won't be this week because I'm in Twitter jail, we're in Twitter jail because I made a raunchy joke at somebody that Twitter's algorithm decided was a threat of bodily violence. Ha 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 ha. So I'm in Twitter jail this week. But follow us because we are streaming on Twitter, usually at 9 p.m. on Sundays, along with YouTube and Rumble. And I know you hear me say this every week, but I'm hoping to say it in a way that will be a little fresher this time. Please support us. Please support us financially. When you're small like this and you're growing, it is really hard to make a living and make a show doing this. And we rely on those of you who watch us loyally. Thank you very much. We do need your financial support. The best thing you could do for us, if you have been waffling on this, please make this the episode that convinces you. Please subscribe to us monthly, even if it's a small amount. There's two ways to do it. You can go to subscribestar.com/disaffected, or you can go to disaffectedpod.substack.com and click on a paid subscription. Either one will get you the same thing and the same content and will also help us. If you just want to give us a one-off contribution, those are very gratefully accepted. Simply go to disaffected.com and click on Support Us. Thank you. Brutalism, ugly modernity. Caught this tweet from the UK's Carl Benjamin, which contrasts a picture of a McDonald's from the 1970s or the 1980s until he shows one from today. And the difference is unbelievably stark. What you start out with is a playland inside, a fantasy tree, murals on the wall. It's there to entice children, to delight people. Then you see today's McDonald's. The chairs don't even have backs. There's stools. Everything is concrete. It's gray and white. There are anonymous kiosks. They don't want you talking to people. It is inhuman. And then my good mutual Will Goodwin on Twitter put up this couple of pictures from what used to be known as the Dallas Zoo McDonald's. And you see the old one had characters on the outside of the buildings, giraffes, orangutans, polar bears, all elephant peeking out there. That was their playground for children inside. Look at the right hand of your screen. Look at it today. That's what they're all doing. In fact, that's what almost all new construction is doing. Bland, boxy, gray. You can see the rot of our societal soul in what's being done to places like McDonald's. Within the past 10 years, every one that I've seen has been what they call updated. That means destroy color and curve, replace with psychopath gray, build in brutalist style. Brutalism is the architectural language of the dark, and disordered mind. It's the architectural language of the cluster B mind. Normal people with normal human-based motivations don't do things like this. And no, it's not all just for cost. It's not all just for efficiency. It's not. People manage to somehow make a profit without doing this. It's not like we can't. It's a choice that's being made. Demoralized and dangerous people build things like this. That's why they've also done everything they can at places like McDonald's to reduce human contact between customers and staff. They ripped out all but 1 or 2 registers, replacing them with these demonic kiosks. It's unbelievable. It's you remember during the COVID years? Contactless delivery, contact free, with a smiley face. This is inhuman. This is the soulless world. Are you loving it? I want to tell you a story about something that happened in Montpelier, the town that I live in Vermont, last week, because this is what is happening to towns in America in 2024. Montpelier is a picture postcard New England town. It is our state capital. It has a population of only about 8,000 people. It's full of stately homes, farmhouses, French Second Empire buildings, and locals who've been there for a long time. I was standing in a pizza parlor lobby, and there were a dozen or so migrants, fresh into town, quite obviously from a third world African country. You could hear it in their accents. They were all muscular, tall men in their 20s, fighting age, military age, all wearing soccer/football gear. No, they weren't on a team. This was just their streetwear with their favorite teams on it. They were giving off that vibe that tells you, don't turn your back on this group. In short, they read as potential hooligans. And also, refugees, my sweet ass. And even if they were, I don't care. They have no right to be here, but thanks to our progressive, mommy-based decision-making, they get to come here and bring their trash culture and change the character of every place that involuntarily hosts them. Do you know that manner, that demeanor that you pick up from some men in large groups, young men in large groups? They appear to be smiling and friendly. They're kind of jocular, but there's a dangerous undertone. You can't quite put your finger on it, but you're nervous. I think they're playing at some kind of game. You know, you're worried that if you say the wrong thing or look the wrong way, that one of them might pop right off without provocation. That's the vibe they were giving off. I trust my intuition. I know that it's right, and I know what I see. Can you imagine yourself acting this way if you were a new immigrant in a foreign culture? Probably not. But people like this have every reason to be cocky and arrogant. The U.S. lets them do anything they want, no consequences at all, except they get more public benefits from our tax dollars. So, back to the pizza parlor. The American girl behind the register was doing that thing that girls have to do to stay safe around men like this. Excessive cheerfulness and smiling, looking winsome. It's defensive. What else could she do? The hooligans weren't quite complaining, but they were angling for something. They kept changing their order. They kept asking odd questions about the menu. Well, if I do it this way, what would you do? If I do this way. Then they decided, maybe they wouldn't order. Maybe they hadn't ordered. Maybe they were going to go someplace else. What they were doing was probing for weakness. They were acting in a predatory pack manner. They were looking for something. This scummy shit is taking over so many places. There's going to be no escaping it. Even if you think your red state is safe from it right now, it won't be forever. It is reasonable, ordinary, and normal for any human to expect cultural assimilation from immigrants, regardless of what country we're talking about. Every human group expects this. It is only the white West that pathologically denies itself the right to pick and choose who we invite into our living room. The Anglosphere has gone completely insane with ethno-masochism. Only we white people in the West put on ostentatious hair shirts and mortify our flesh in public for having a culture of our own and for bearing the original sin of white skin. No one else does this. We need to stop it. I don't want the third world here. So, Auslander Rouse. All right, it's almost time to end the show. We've only got one for you in Potpourri du Moquerie this week, but don't despair. It is the correct one. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Auntie Maxine to take us out.
They've seen President Biden. They've lived through his presidency. They've also seen former President Trump. They've lived through his presidency. They've heard these arguments about democracy, about the fate of the election. And yet Trump is not only winning, but winning increasingly by a larger margin. So what is the plan among Democrats to change that trajectory? It sounds like you're talking about saying and doing all the same things, but do you believe that something needs to change?
I think we need to keep working.
I'm wiping my brow with sweat here, and she's parting her wig again. That's it. That's the show. Again, please make this the week that you become a supporting member. If you subscribe to us monthly through subscribestar.com or through Substack, you'll get access to our backstage where we have sit-down recorded interviews for our members with upcoming audio shows. And you will get access to our Discord where sane people chat privately without calling each other Christo-fascists. I'd love to see you there. Take care of yourselves, everybody, this week, and look sharp.